and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. A federal high court in Abuja has granted bail to the embattled spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu. Metu was granted bail in the sum of 300 million naira on Friday at his resumed hearing in court. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) had filed fresh charges against Metu. The new charges relate to allegations that the PDP spokesperson tore his statement while in EFCC custody. Metu has since pleaded not guilty to the 2-count charge bordering on destruction of evidence. The Nigerian Air Force has established a Special Forces Command to strengthen its operations in the northeast and other internal security operations across the country. Chief of Air Staff Sadiq Abubakar disclosed this while delivering a lecture at the National Defense College in Abuja. Although Air Marshal Abubakar did not give details of the establishment of the new command, he said it was part of the planned restructuring of the Air Force Operational Command to conform with contemporary demands on national security. The trial of the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki, retired at the Federal High Court in Abuja, is expected to resume on Friday. Dasuki's standing trial for the alleged diversion of 19 billion naira. At the trial on Thursday, the judge, Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf, had announced that the trial had been postponed following a letter he received from Dasuki's lawyers, which stated that they would be absent at the trial. He then adjourned the trial to Friday, January 22nd. The Nigerian House of Representatives has asked its Committee on Defense to investigate the recent bombings of oil installations in the Niger Delta region. The resolution was taken following a motion moved by Senator Julius Pondi regarding the recent destruction of petroleum facilities in the Niger Delta. President Muhammadu Buhari has already vowed to crack down on oil thieves who'd vandalize pipelines in the Niger Delta. The bombings are believed to have been carried out by militants loyal to embattled former Niger Delta warlord Government Ekpomopolo, also known as Tampolo, who is being prosecuted by the Anti-Corruption Agency (EFCC) for fraud, although he has since refused to appear before the commission. Tampolo, however, has denied any involvement in the bombings. The Speaker for the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has inaugurated the House's Constitution Review Committee, consisting of 49 members. The 7th Assembly had jointly passed the 4th Alteration Bill to further amend the 1999 Constitution, but former President Goodluck Jonathan withheld assent even after billions had been committed to the amendment exercise. The committee will conclude work on the 4th Alteration Bill started by the 7th Assembly, Dogara said at the inauguration ceremony on Thursday. Nigeria's finance minister says the country plans to borrow up to $5 billion from multiple sources, including the Eurobond market. Kemi Adeosun said this was necessary in order for the country to plug its deficit as it tries to overcome its worst economic crisis in years through a record budget. She said the government was optimistic that it would receive the desired support after cutting government costs and improving revenue collection. Africa's biggest economy and top oil producer is reeling from the fall in crude revenues, the source of 95% of its foreign earnings. The Plateau State Commissioner of Health, Dr. Kudin Kamshak, has said that 5 cases of Lassa fever have been detected in just the state capital. He, however, noted that the patients were responding to treatment. The commissioner who spoke in Jos said that Plateau State had been identified as one of the hotbed of the ailment due to its proximity to most of the Lassa fever endemic states, hence the need for citizens to maintain a clean and healthy environment. He added that health officers had been sent to rural communities to sensitize them on the dangers of the disease and the symptoms to look out for. Nigeria's electoral body, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), says support from both the media and civil society organizations is vital for the commission to succeed in conducting supplementary elections in the state. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu said this while speaking to members of civil society organizations and the media. Earlier, INEC revealed that a total of 97 elections in the country were nullified by the appeal court. Out of that number, Yakubu said the body intends to conduct 82 elections before the end of the first quarter of this year. The elections will hold between now and March 2016.
As always, I want to recognize civil society and the media as very critical partners in the consolidation of our democratic process and the management of our election. Many of you have accumulated vast practical experience and knowledge of the electoral processes, from the registration of voters to logistics to conduct of elections, declaration of results, pre- and post-election litigation, and more. Although you have no candidates in elections, you are always in the field, irrespective of distance, terrain, and risk. The media not only report events as they occurred, but you also run comments and analysis for public understanding. The civil society organizations do the same, but in addition avail us of very useful reports of your observations and recommendations. I want to assure you that we appreciate your partnership and support, and for our part, we shall continue to consult with you and share information and ideas in order to strengthen the electoral process. By now, I'm sure you are all aware that 82 elections as of today, and still counting, have been nullified by the courts. On Monday, when we had our consultative meeting with the RECs, then the figure was 81 elections. But by yesterday, it jumped to 82 and still counting. That is the elections nullified by the courts of appeal. But there were other elections upturned by the same courts, and INEC was directed to issue certificates of return to the rightful winners. That is a situation where the petitioners were returned victors. And so far, we have issued 15 such certificates of return to those declared rightful winners by the courts. So if you add the 15 for which we issued certificates and the 82 upturned by the appeal court so far, 97 elections have been either upturned or outrightly nullified. What it means is that the first quarter of this year will witness a mini general election. Because they are time-bound, we have to conduct the elections according to the text of the judgments, but for a maximum of 90 days. Some are less, but we have to conduct the elections within 90 days. So this will take us so far to the upper limit of the middle of March. So in the next 2.5 months, we'll conduct 82 elections. The specter of violence is worrisome to the Commission, and we need to find ways out of it. Peace parks were signed, and before the governorship election in Kogi on November the 21st, I led a team of national commissioners to Kogi and addressed the stakeholders, and they all reaffirmed their commitment to the peace pact signed earlier. And 5 days to the last election, governorship election in Bayelsa, we did the same. We went to Nagoa, and all the politicians reaffirmed their commitment to the peace accord. But we all know what happened. So we want to know from our own experience, how can we strengthen this peace pact so that they will have the impact that we all desire. The second point I would like to raise in relation to electoral violence is our security deployment. We would like your advice and input on how best we can strengthen security deployment so that we can achieve the desired result. But for us as a commission, we also believe that until and unless this nation decisively deal with electoral offenders, this cycle is likely to continue.
TV360 News Now will take a short break. Other stories will follow shortly. Stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on TV360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. This is TV360 News Now. Following a decline in the Naira, ratings agency Standard & Poor's on Thursday said Nigeria will have to devalue its currency. The agency said it expected this to happen at some stage in 2016 and in gradual adjustments. Ravi Bhatia, the Director of Sovereign and International Public Finance at Standard & Poor's, said a devaluation would only go some way to improve Nigeria's situation. Investors have seen a devaluation of the Naira as long overdue for Africa's largest economy and biggest oil exporter, which has been battered by the tumble in crude oil prices. Despite growing pressure, Nigeria's government has kept the Naira pegged at around 198 to the dollar on the official interbank market, while restricting access to dollars. The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank have approved over 89 million euros as loan to finance the development of an agricultural value chain development project in Cameroon. The project will be implemented in the Central Basin. It will focus on the elimination of constraints on the competitiveness of 3 targeted crop sectors, which include oil palm, plantain, and pineapple, by leveraging infrastructure, crops, youth entrepreneurship, and coordination to improve the competitiveness of the 3 crops value chains, to also create jobs and sustainably improve stakeholders' income in targeted crop sectors. It's expected to boost inclusive growth by creating jobs, especially for youths, as well as enhance food and nutritional security. Oil prices rose by 5% on Friday to scale the $30 mark benched last week. Brent was up $1.50 a barrel at $30.75 per barrel, off its low of $27.10 a barrel earlier this week, while U.S. crude was up $1.26 at $30.79 per barrel. While crude futures on both sides of the Atlantic were poised for their first weekly gain this year, analysts cautioned that the bounce in prices could be driven by sentiment given soaring inventories amid persistent overproduction. Now, a gruesome attack on a popular beachside restaurant in Somali capital of Mogadishu has left at least 17 people dead. Somali police say Al-Shabaab, a militant group aligned with Al-Qaeda, set off 2 car bombs at the Beach View Cafe on Mogadishu's popular Lido Beach. The group also engaged in a gun battle for hours with government troops trying to flush them out. A huge second blast, which witnesses said echoed around the city center, struck about an hour later as government soldiers laid siege to the restaurant. 6 of the attackers were eventually killed by government forces. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls has warned that Europe's migration crisis is putting the EU at grave risk. Valls told the BBC Europe could not take all the refugees fleeing what he called terrible wars in Iraq and Syria. Valls also said that France would seek to keep its current state of emergency until a total and global war against so-called Islamic State militants was over. More than 1 million migrants, as mostly refugees, arrived in Europe last year, making dangerous journeys. On Friday, at least 21 people were killed as their boat sank off the Greek islands. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday hosted the victorious Golden Eaglets team of 1985 and 2015 at the conference hall of the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The president also hosted other sport heroes who had done the country proud in various sports competitions from May 2015 till date. The other sport heroes honored at the event are men and women basketballers, powerlifters, World Scrabble champion Wellington Jigere and officials, Nigerian boxer Olariwaju Durodola, athletes and officials, and the Under-23 African Cup of Nations winners. Napoli coach Maurizio Sarri has been given a 2-game ban and a €20,000 fine for the homophobic insults he aimed at Inter Milan manager Roberto Mancini during the Italian Cup quarter-final. The pair clashed during Tuesday night's Italia club match between both sides. Mancini says the Napoli coach used homophobic words against him during the heated exchange and demanded that authorities investigate the incident. Authorities have now investigated the matter and banned the Napoli coach. That's all we have on News Now for now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.